As organic managers, we strive to grow healthy crops with as few off-farm inputs as possible. We rely on crop rotation and nutrient cycling to provide the bulk of the nutrition for our crop. But sometimes you just can't grow enough fertility with legumes, or we have a mineral deficiency in the crop that needs to be corrected and can't be done with just cover crops. Fertility inputs do have a place on a well-managed organic system. When supplied judiciously, off-farm inputs can correct and prevent issues that may occur. In this lesson, we're going to look at common organic fertility inputs. But before we start, I want to really stress that fertilizers and nutrients are an easy place to get tripped up with the regulations. Before you recommend any input, always clear it with the farm's organic certifier first to be sure that it's compliant with the regulations. Let's take a short moment to breeze through a couple of things that are absolutely not permitted for use in organics. 1. Synthetic NPK solutions are prohibited. That means no ammonia, no ammonium nitrate, no urea, no ammonium citrate, no superphosphate, no DAP, no MAP. 2. Herbicides like glyphosate, 2,4-D, or dicamba, totally prohibited. 3. Insecticides like neonicotinoids. 4. GMOs. 5. Synthetic seed treatments and inoculants. As you are learning about allowed and prohibited substances, you can dig deeper and check specific product formulations or sources with OMRI in the national lists. When selecting fertility inputs, lean on natural substances as much as you can. The National Organic Program defines natural as a substance that's derived from mind, plant, or animal matter and does not go through a synthetic process. The organic regulations allow all natural substances to be applied on organic farms with some pretty specific exceptions. Some common natural fertility inputs used on organic farms might include fish emulsions, pelleted poultry manures, mined lime, and gypsum. A quick note on natural substances. Be sure your natural input has not been contaminated with a prohibited substance. For example, manure from a hog confinement facility that's been treated with a stabilizer would not be considered a natural substance and therefore would be prohibited. The organic regulations do allow a short list of synthetic substances to be used in certified organic operations. Most of these substances are permitted only in specific circumstances. Be sure to read their associated restrictions carefully and always check with the farm certifier before applying them. Some common synthetic substances used for fertility include aquatic plant extracts other than hydrolyzed preparations, elemental sulfur, humic acids, and magnesium sulfate. Nearly all micronutrients are derived from synthetic processes and are allowed only when a soil or tissue test demonstrates a deficiency and with the farm certifier's approval. Examples of micronutrients include soluble boron, sulfates, manganese, cobalt. The full complement of allowed synthetic substances can be found in the national list. For adjusting pH, you have several options in organics. Again, only natural sources like mine products are allowed. The most common pH adjusters in organics are calcitic lime, aka calcite, and dolomitic lime, aka dolomite. Both of these substances also add calcium to the soil, and dolomitic lime also contains some magnesium. Common lime products like calcium hydroxide and calcium oxide are derived from synthetic processes and are not allowed. The naturally occurring soft mineral gypsum is allowed in organics, but does not have an effect on the pH. It is used as a calcium and sulfur amendment and can be effective for enhancing the structure of soils that contain high amounts of sodium. But be aware, sheetrock as a source of gypsum is prohibited. As with all soil amendments, the organic regulations require a soil test to determine when and how much lime and gypsum may be applied. A practice growing in popularity is foliar feeding. Some organic farmers are using foliar sprays to optimize the nutrient profile of the crops, enhance crop health, and minimize the amount of nutrients needed. Foliar feeding is most effective with micronutrients such as iron, particularly when the soil conditions like high pH cause issues with nutrient availability. You should only use foliar feeding when there is a demonstrated need. It's not a substitute for good soil fertility management. As always, soil and tissue tests are required before applying micronutrients in organics, even with foliar applications. One note here, we talk about foliar sprays, but in my experience both as a farmer and an inspector, they're pretty uncommon. They're expensive, they're tricky to manage, and ultimately they're just not a replacement for good crop rotation and growing your own fertilizer. With all of the emphasis on soil microbiology in organic farming, some farmers have promoted using biostimulants or microbial starters to repopulate the soil with beneficial organisms and boost biological function. Frequently promoted biological inputs include compost teas, rhizobium inoculates, ectomycorrhizal inoculants, and microbial foods like molasses to stimulate biological growth. Many of these products are expensive, and their effectiveness is not really well established, but some biological inputs have been shown to be quite effective. Inoculants, such as rhizobium and mycorrhizal fungi, can be effective when applied to the crop seeds or roots. When broadcast, these biologicals are often overwhelmed by the existing soil biology and don't have a measurable effect. Humic substances, derived from compost, worm castings, or mined lignite, can enhance plant growth when applied at concentrations between 5 and 300 parts per million. So I'd like to pause here for a moment and address a rising trend that we're seeing in organic grain production: soil balancing. Proponents of soil balancing believe that an ideal soil is achieved only when the soil's exchangeable bases, calcium, magnesium, and potassium, are in specific proportions to one another. Practitioners will add amendments to adjust the ratios of the base cation saturations in the soil. The practice of soil balancing is costly and unproven fertility management strategy. The benefits have not been demonstrated experimentally, and the potential drawbacks have not been explored. Some farmers, crop consultants, and commercial testing laboratories avidly promote soil balancing as a key strategy for raising a healthy crop, and we don't want to disregard the experience of these practitioners, but we do want to caution about recommending soil balancing given that it's not yet supported by solid evidence. If you're interested in learning more about soil balancing, you can dig deeper in the lesson notes. Please take the time to learn more and come to your own conclusions before adopting soil balancing theories. And while we're on the topic of being careful with what works and what doesn't, let's talk about the age-old concern of snake oil. When you are making input recommendations to your farmer clients, it's so important that you are confident that the products you're recommending are of real value. Many organic inputs are expensive, and sadly, just as many are ineffective or unproven. Before you recommend a new product to your farmer client, it's important to follow best practices in assessing the value of that input. Look for third-party data on the efficacy of the product and look closely at the quality of that data. The best data comes from replicated and randomized trials. If the results are from a one-off side-by-side comparison, those results just don't really count. When you do find a product that looks promising, consider conducting a field trial yourself. The best way to know what works is to try it out in your fields. Your clients will appreciate your efforts. To learn more about conducting your own field trials, dig deeper into the resources below. Alrighty. We've spent a lot of time talking about allowed inputs, but I want to stress one more time that organic farming is all about making it work with fewer inputs. Many farmers who transition from conventional to organic are used to looking for inputs to solve problems with their crops. In organic, though, we are required to use preventative management first and to turn to inputs just as a last resort. As you advise clients, work to help them get to a place where inputs are only used when they're actually needed. All right, see you in the next lesson.